Woo! Hey, house guests. Welcome to today's BB23 updates and spoilers. That took a lot less time to actually start than usual, so it's a little caught off guard there. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our house guests of the day are Thomas Milligan and Hector Salinas. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. All right, it's only $1 for holla. And before we get going, I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters because you guys are also a huge part of keeping this show running. So Jody Cortez, Rob's Classic Commercials and Retro Stuff, Laura G, Jefferson Tucker, Darren McDowell, big spender over here. Thank you so much. Fa Q, Carl Van Bergen, Mary Patricia Dorsey, and Debbie Prujgoda. Thank you all so much for the super chats. You're amazing. Okay, and I see we also have 2 super chatters today. So let me just thank you guys before we get started. Sheena123, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Maddie, did you hear that? Oh no! Dr. Will Kirby seeks divorce from Aaron Brody. I did not know that. Oh no, that's so sad. I feel bad about that. But thank you for the super chat. And Jody Cortez says happy Friday. Honestly, I keep forgetting it's Friday. For some reason, I keep thinking it's Saturday, and it is not. But thank you so much for the super chat and for the reminder. All right, so we got a lot to discuss here, y'all. Here we go. Last night, we saw Brent was evicted by a vote of 11-0. I sadly to vote Brent. I can't get over Derek F's voting. It just cracks me up so much. But anyway, Brent did not seem blindsided at all. And honestly, it just left me feeling like kind of sad to watch it all play out. But anyway, we also saw that Christian and the Kings won HOH. I'm pretty sure they didn't know that like the last person working on the puzzle when they finished it would be the HOH. Christian seemed pretty surprised by that. But yeah, that means that the Kings are all safe for the week. So Xavier, Alyssa, and Sarah Beth, all safe. And of course, Christian. This is the one team that the rest of the teams didn't want to win. But honestly, everyone's performance on that puzzle was pathetic, including the Kings. Everybody else deserved to lose. They had to be throwing that competition, right? Because it was just bad. I'm assuming just like everybody forgot how to do puzzles because they were so concerned with buzzing in before the 25 seconds was up. I don't know, but it seemed absolutely insane. Also for this week, the final wildcard competition will be happening. It already did. And next week's HOH is going to be an endurance comp. Woo! All right, should be fun. So the fees came back 15-ish minutes after the show ended, and everybody was chilling out. And at one point, Tiffany and Derek F were in the kitchen, and Big D says, this sucks, because now we have to wait a whole nother week to split up the Kings. And Tiffany says, everybody tried to win that competition. Did they though? She says the Kings won fair and square. Nothing they can do about that. So Big D says the Kings won because of that damn you-know-who. And Tiffany says, yup, Sarah Beth was really leading the charge on that puzzle. She's the one that made that happen. So they know what's up. But Big D, so sad. He was like waiting for his frozen pizza to cook, and he was trying to squeeze in like one last big meal before Have Nots start because it's the Joker's turn to be Have Nots this week. Oh boy, that's gonna be something. But he didn't let the pizza cook all the way before he started eating it. He was eating a freaking severely undercooked pizza. And he was like, I don't have time. It was so sad. Oh my God. But anyway, a little later, Team Kings report to the storage room to celebrate their victory. They're talking about how the other teams must hate them, but oh well, they've got HOH 2 weeks in a row. And Alyssa says, if we didn't win, we'd be up on the block this week. So we needed this. And Christian's like, yeah, we just got to keep winning. Just keep winning. Just keep Dory. But Christian says there's going to be a team of 2 after this week, and we will still have 4. Great. Okay. But Christian is seeming really overwhelmed by the responsibility of being HOH. And they're telling him, we're going to have your back. Don't worry. Alyssa, she said something along the lines of, like, don't worry. No one is going to believe that you made decisions by yourself and not with the team behind you. Which I know she was just trying to, like, make him feel better and say, like, everybody knows it's going to be a team thing. But the way it sounded was just like, nobody's going to think that you're smart enough to make decisions on your own. So Christian says, I don't think it's likely to happen. But if this HOH shit goes to my head, smack the shit out of me. Whoa. He's saying again, he's really nervous. He doesn't want the responsibility. So what? Basically, Alyssa's going to be HOH? Is that what you're telling us? Because that's what it sounds like. Okay, so then Xavier and Big D had a chat in the yacht club bedroom, and Xavier's telling Big D, you got to stay calm this week. Apparently, he's been making a lot of little comments that are pissing Alyssa off about Alyssa and Christian being in a showmance, saying like, oh, we're going to go up to the HOH room and see pictures of Alyssa's dogs. So Big D says that bitch, meaning Whitney, is crazy. He says he's afraid that Whitney is going to come up with some way to stay off the block and, like, he's going to end up on there. But Xavier says, no one on my team is targeting the Jokers right now. If you start acting pissy or out of sorts, you're going to give them a reason to target you. So Big D's like, yeah, well, I'm just worried about that damn Christian and his damn girl. And Xavier says, they're both on my team. You know, I'm going to have some influence this week, so you got to trust me. Chill out. He says, my team already has some targets, and your teammates' names have not been brought up once. So just relax. He says Whitney is still likely going to be the target this week. So Big D, he's like, I don't know. I could see this week getting pretty nasty. But he says he's going to be on his best behavior. We'll see. He also says he really wants to win HOH next week and take out one of the kings. And he says this to Xavier, one of the kings. But I mean, he's been saying it all along. And Xavier knows he's going to have to give up some teammates because Xavier seems to be fully on board with the cookout going to the end together. So anyway, a few minutes later, Tiffany and Azza were chatting in the yacht club bedroom, and they're talking about the upcoming wild card competition. Claire and Whitney, they're going to be playing by default because everybody else left on their teams has already played before. And then for the Jokers, Big D and Azza are left to play. So they're going to have to either draw to see who plays or decide amongst themselves. So Tiffany says Whitney cannot win this wild card competition because if she wins safety, Hannah is going to be the target. She says Claire could possibly be in trouble too. Her name has come up a bunch of times. So then Claire walks in and Tiffany says, we need to have a Kingslayers meeting and get the group back together. And just to remind you, because we haven't heard much about the Kingslayers lately, that is Tiffany, Claire, Azza, and Brittany. Okay, so after Claire leaves the room, Azza is talking about how she just wants to lay low, have a chill week, and Tiffany's like, yeah, that sounds wonderful. I think you should do that. She says Big D also needs to chill out because, again, he's going to put a target on his back when there is not a target there right now. But they agree. Whitney needs to go this week. She's the epitome of a floater. She just sucks up to whoever is in power. Actually, Azza used a much more graphic analogy, which I'm not repeating right now, but they're like, let's just let Whitney go home to her kids before jury. Apparently, Whitney has said in previous weeks that she would like to leave before the jury starts so she can be with her kids again. So then Tiffany was doing an impression of Whitney walking around in her revealing clothing. It felt a little bit slut-shamey. I don't know. But then Azza was acknowledging that she's a hater because she thinks Xavier is cute. So she's jealous of Whitney, like, cuddling with Xavier and stuff. All right. But anyway, they know that Hannah is likely going up on the block next to Whitney. And Tiffany says our cards might get shown this week because the cookout is going to keep Hannah over Whitney. And they have the numbers to do it. So they're really hoping that Whitney is going to be the target, even if those two are up on the block together. If not, they're going to have to try and sway some other people so that they can cover their votes and it's not just going to be Cookout versus everybody. So they're thinking maybe Kyland can get Sarah Beth to change her mind. I don't know. Sarah Beth is pretty set in her ways. But anyway, Hannah and Xavier had a quick chat in the coral bedroom, and Hannah says, I feel good. Yikes. She asks Xavier, should I not feel good? Like, have you heard anything? And Xavier says he doesn't have any reason to think that she shouldn't feel good. He knows that his team is all saying that they want to target Hannah this week, but I'm sure he does not want to tell her that and get her like panicking and freaking out, because he seems to think at this point he's still going to be able to flip them and get the target back onto Whitney instead of Hannah. So he doesn't want to freak Hannah out in the meantime. But he says if something does come up and it looks like you could be in trouble, I'm going to steer them away from you. So Hannah's like, cool, keep me updated. But again, I do feel okay for now. Okay, so Xavier, again, is just saying everyone needs to stay cool this week. Just relax. All right, after, Hannah chats with Derek X, and Derek is pretty worried that it looks like they were gunning for the HOH. Did it look that way? Apparently, Sarah Beth like grilled him after and was like, did you throw the comp or what? And he was like, I'm sort of. He came up with some story that he wanted to throw it, and then at the last minute, his teammates said that they wanted to go for it, and because of the way the competition was set up, he decided he also needed to go for it because he wanted to be the one to win out of the three of them. I don't think that story was working on Sarah Beth. But anyway, Hannah is thinking that Christian will be targeting Whitney this week. Girl. Derek says, that's not really good for us, but I can't think of any way around it. Like, who else are we going to get the target on? At one point, he said Brittany would be the perfect person to go this week. I don't know that I really see that happening unless something happens with the veto. I don't know. But they're not really sure who the new target would be if Whitney were to win safety in the wild card competition. So Hannah says Xavier is going to be trying to steer the Kings away from targeting us. So that's good. And then after a few minutes, they're deciding, you know what, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if Whitney went this week. At first, Derek was saying, like, it would be great if we had 3 people competing in the next HOH competition. But now Derek is saying he's pretty confident that he can win the next HOH, especially since Christian isn't going to be competing. Now, we know it's going to be an endurance comp. And I think Derek X would probably have a really good chance of winning an endurance competition. So we'll see. But they also discussed how if Whitney goes, they're not going to have that Frenchie stank on them anymore because Whitney and Brent were both associated with Frenchie. So that connection will be gone. But anyway, later, Whitney and Alyssa were chatting in the bathroom, and Whitney's like, oh my God, I was going to congratulate you guys. I wanted to so badly, but I don't want it to look weird. She says that she's so excited for them, and she is kissing ass big time. So Whitney says, I have a really hard time trusting Kylan now. I feel like he's acting differently, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things. I don't know. So Alyssa's like, yeah, people are already sucking up and acting strange, and Christian doesn't even realize it yet. He's not picking up on that. But Alyssa says everyone else other than you was targeting us, so nobody has any idea what's going to happen this week. And Whitney makes it a point to say that Derek X wasn't targeting them either, and Alyssa's like, oh, yeah, of course. All right. So then there was lots of chilling out, just hanging out. Christian got his HOH room at like 11:19 p.m., Big Brother time. Everybody was oohing and ahhing over his family photos and his puppy. Wasn't he the one that left like a new puppy at home? That's so hard. But his music is Post Malone. He got a hoodie, some goodies, snacks. His fridge was freaking stocked up. And Tiffany was like, oh, they like you. They went to Whole Foods for you, honey. So then, again, Tiffany read Christian's letter out loud because Christian was afraid he would cry if he read it. It was from his mom. And his mom said in the letter that they're keeping it short and sweet because they don't want him to cry too much. It was a very sweet and loving letter, so that was cool. And then after, they did a big group hug. So while everyone was dispersing from the HOH room, Ozza and Big D had a quick check-in in the living room, and Ozza's like, what's the plan? Like, what are we doing for this wildcard competition? Because it could be either one of them competing. She's like, are we just going to draw to see who plays? Like, what do you think? And Big D says, no, you can go for it. I know that you can beat Whitney and Claire. And if I go up on the block, I go up on the block. And then he's talking about how, like, if he does get nominated, he's going to flip this house upside down and Christian's going to regret ever putting him up. Why does Big D think he's going up this week? It's so weird. But anyway, I was like, okay, cool. Okay. So then the Kings meet up in the HOH room to come up with a plan for the week. So they had already been discussing this last week ad nauseum. But they want to follow through on the plan that they were thinking of. Nominate Whitney and Hannah. They don't need to decide on a target right away. They can just see what happens throughout the week and then pick a target later. But of course, they were still talking about who's going to be the target. So Alyssa says we need to do what's best for our team, not for the whole Royal Flush Alliance. You know, we're the ones that won HOH this week, so ultimately we get to decide what we're doing. So Alyssa says we should keep Whitney around because she can be a shield for us next week. But Xavier's like, he's trying to get the target off of Hannah and back onto Whitney. But every point he makes, Sarah Beth, Alyssa, and Christian are all coming up with counterpoints. And they're like, you know, Hannah is more likely to win HOH next week and take a shot at us. We can't have her around, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And another point, this is so sad. This kept coming up. The rest of the Kings clearly do not trust Christian to not F up this HOH this week because they keep saying to him that they want to be present for all of his meetings with people. They're worried that he's going to say the wrong thing, promise people things that he shouldn't. I mean, he did kind of blow the blind side with Brent, right? So anyway, they want to make sure they're around for all of his conversations. But there wasn't anything interesting last night. For those that are curious, Alyssa slept downstairs. She doesn't want to make the target on her and Christian any bigger right now. But she says she may stay up there for one night later in the week. I don't really care. We'll see. So anyway, today, Xavier putting in work. He came in early to put in some extra work, trying to get the target back onto Whitney and off of Hannah. So he was chatting with Christian in the yacht club bedroom, and Xavier says, we should be in a good position with the Jokers next week if we can avoid putting them up on the block. And Xavier says, if we take out Whitney this week, Hannah will still be a target next week. It's definitely making Christian feel better with Xavier saying, like, no matter what, Whitney and Hannah are both going to be leaving before the jury starts. So you don't have to worry about that. Does Xavier actually want that to happen? No. But anyway, he's pushing it with Christian. So Christian's like, oh, I don't know what to say in my speech. And Xavier advises him to keep it simple. Just say that you've heard that both of them have been saying that they would come after the Kings if they were to win HOH. Say that you don't have a clear target yet. Keep everybody comfortable going into the power veto competition, and just say that you're looking out for yourself and for your team. And Christian's like, wow, that's simple. I like it. I can do that. So Xavier says, let's see how the two nominees react after the nominations, and that'll give us a better idea of who we should target. But then he's also still pushing for the target to be Whitney. He says, Whitney is not going to vote for us if she makes it to jury. She's only going to vote for women. We are not women. And Christian says, well, Hannah wouldn't vote for us either. But then Xavier's arguing Whitney would be more likely to put two of us up on the block. I've heard from multiple people that she's been throwing out all four of us Kings' names. And he says Hannah is a smarter player. She would not be dumb enough to put two of us up on the block at the same time and then have three of us coming after her. So Then Xavier, this I feel like was really the tide turning for right now, but Xavier suggests maybe we could even get Hannah to make some moves for us. You know, maybe we can make a deal with her, and if she wins HOH, she'll do something to help us out. So Christian seems open to this. He likes the idea of this. He's still planning on putting her up as a pawn, but he says maybe then I can repair the relationship with Hannah if I talk about it with her before noms. So Xavier is like, absolutely. He's comparing it to him putting up Brittany last week. Are you good with Brittany, though? Well, all right. But it's working to try and convince Christian. So he seems on board with possibly targeting Whitney instead of Hannah this week. So Xavier also prepped Hannah for her chat with the Kings that would be happening later. And he was like, yeah, make sure you mention that you want to work with us moving forward. Make sure you say that you would target the Jokers if you were to win HOH. Say, like, you don't want to make a big move. You just want to make a safe move. So that's all working in her favor with that information. Xavier also had a chat with Alyssa, and she's now saying that she's cool with Whitney going this week. So it was pretty much the same points that he made to Christian. Like, we can get her to work with us and take a shot for us. But let's see what's Sarah Beth going to say about all this, because she's the one that's really pushing for Hannah to go this week. So then the feeds went down for a few hours for the wildcard competition, and we had Claire versus Whitney versus, I think, Azza. I mean, they were talking about Azza playing instead of Derek F., but I don't know if they actually followed through on that. But we do know that Claire won the wild card. Sounds like by a lot. She did take the deal for safety, and it sounds like she's safe for 2 weeks, I believe. But I don't know yet what the consequence of that is. It almost sounds like they're still going to be doing the wild card again next week, but I don't know. Maybe they just don't realize that the wild card is ending. So I don't know yet what the consequence is, but Claire is safe. All right. So then there was a Royal Flush meeting in the HOH room minus Derek X. So it was really a Kings and Queens teams meeting. Sarah Beth does not waste much time before she starts laying out her points, why she thinks that Hannah should go this week. She's like, she's not working with us. She's most likely to win HOH and come after us. And Claire's like, well, what has Hannah won so far? You know, she hasn't won any competitions. And Sarah Beth is like, Hannah has been throwing competitions. She goes through all these different ones that she's thrown. And then Xavier and Kyland are trying to advocate for Hannah, saying she wouldn't put up 2 kings. She would be a fairer juror. That's hard to say. Fairer juror than Whitney. And Sarah Beth's like, cool, but Hannah's coming after me. Like, I don't care about freaking jury votes at this point. I want to make it to jury. So then Tiffany brings up another option. She's like, what about Brittany? She's more of a threat to both of our teams. She could very easily put up Kai and Xavier. She could put up Christian and Xavier. Like, she could do pretty much anything because she's been on the block twice already, and she's just going to do whatever. So Tiffany says Brittany has also thrown out Christian and Alyssa's names. So she's all over the place. But Sarah Beth, again, is redirecting this back to Hannah. She says, it really scares me how close Hannah is to a bunch of people in this alliance. She says, you guys are fighting so hard for her. Like, that really makes me nervous. Oof. So Tiffany's like, I just want to make it clear I'm not fighting for Hannah. And then Kyland also says, well, if we're fighting for Hannah, then you're fighting for Whitney. So again, Sarah Beth is saying it's great that you guys are all thinking about jury votes and who would vote for who, but I'm just trying to make it to jury. And I feel like if Hannah won HOH next week, she would target me. To be fair, I think she would target Christian and Alyssa first, but I don't think that Hannah's a huge fan of Sarah Beth. There is a mutual target there. But anyway, they asked Christian what he thinks, and he says, well, if this decision was solely up to me, like, I would want Whitney out, but that's not necessarily what's best for all of us. So after this meeting, the plan is still to put up Hannah and Whitney next to each other. You know, the target is not completely set yet. They still need to see what happens with the power veto as well. Christian is doing his team meetings / 4-on-1s, 1-on-1s, whatever. But I'm going to start tomorrow's spoiler with all of that. And this week, it's really shaping up to be what Sarah Beth wants versus what Xavier wants and to see like who is able to convince Team Kings of what they want to do. So it's going to be interesting to watch that play out.
What about what I want?
Hi! I know, right? Hi! What would you like to see happen?
I would like to see everyone wish Daniel Levine a happy birthday.
Oh, Daniel! Happy birthday!
The big 21.
The big 21. What are you doing here right now? We appreciate it, though.
Waiting to go to Chipotle.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Hi, I love you. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch this play out. So if you guys want to check back later for the nominations, we'll post them in the info for this video. It's looking like it's going to be Hannah and Whitney nominated, but I'll be curious to see what happens with the POV tomorrow too. You're so special.
I know,
And
right?
wonderful. So I want to thank all of our super chatters so much. Sheena123, thank you so much. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Catherine Cruz, thank you so much. Jordan, is it Gaddis?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Gaddis, thank you so much. They asked, as of now, who has the best chance of winning? And this is their 5th year watching. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Who has the best chance of winning? That's such a tough question because I feel like there's so many good players this season. I don't know.
Players.
Yeah, I would say maybe like I could see maybe Xavier would have a really good shot because he's a strong player, but he's also like kind of under the radar. I love Tiffany, but I'm a little bit worried that she's going to get caught up eventually in her gameplay. I don't know. There's a lot of great players, but good question. Who do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And thank you again for the super chat, Jordan. Michelle Michelle C. Thank you so much. Okay, Michelle is saying Derek X told Christian that he threw it. I know he's saying that, he's claiming that, but
I mean, it kind of looks like he did.
I don't know. Sarah Beth also called that out and was like, well, that's not what he told me. So his stories are not lining up, which doesn't look great for him. But thank you for the super chat. Adam Schroeder, thank you for the super chat. And Adam asks, who would you play for Snatch Game on Drag Race? That's a wonderful question. I would absolutely play either.
Let's see if it's the same ones I would pick for you.
I would play either Liza Minnelli or Judy Garland.
Yes!
Or maybe I would do one of those things where I got 2 wigs prepared and I do both.
A double wig reveal?
Double wig reveal. It would be a lot of fun. But
no flower petals?
I mean, maybe. But thank you all so much for watching and for being here.
Oh, you know who else you would be really good at?
Who?
The one from Downton Abbey.
Which one?
The old one. Whoa!
Maggie Smith?
Yes.
It's been done.
Because you're both Chihuahua heads.
Yeah, that's true.
Liza's been done too.
Yeah, I know. But I just couldn't resist. Anyway, thank you all so much. We're going to get going now. Bowie!
Tell the truth. You have Dungeons and Dragons.
I have Dungeons and Dragons tonight, and I still need to level up my character. So I need to level up my character, make a smoothie, and get out of here. So you know how it goes. But anyway, we will see you tomorrow. So thank you all so much. And until next time, much love. Awkward sign off. Woo! Okay.